okay? And I work for Smart Systems, so I come in, most everybody knows me as the chemical guy, okay? So a little bit about what we do is we do come in, I check out your dishwasher, make sure that we are checking temperatures and preventative maintenance on that. I take care of your inventory on your chemicals, and then I do a Board of Health inspection around your kitchen. So when you see me walking around looking, you know, up and down, and then your freezers and coolers, that's what I'm doing. Because we're a partner. We want to make sure that, you know, anything that we might be able to see before the Board of Health comes in, that we can jointly get that taken care of, okay? Now, one of the big questions with COVID this year has been the difference between sanitizer and germicide, okay? So I'm going to give you a little spiel about the differences and a little bit about the chemical makeup of the two, okay, and what they can do. So your sanitizer is rated between a chemical parts per million, okay, and adds between 150 and 400 parts per million. So when you have that little litmus paper and you're checking it and it says 200, that's where it should be. If it's at 150 or below, it's too weak and it needs to be remade. If it's at 400 or above, that means it's too strong and it can be harmful, so it needs to be remade, okay? Now your sanitizer will kill 19 different kinds of bacteria. Your germicide is rated at 800 parts per million. It is hospital grade. It is registered with the EPA as what we call a type N, and it's good to use. Now, the germicide will kill your bacteria. Let's see what else. Your fungus, mold, avian flu, H1N1, and the SARS virus, which is COVID-19 linked. Now, the differences between the two is sanitizer you want to use on food contact surfaces. Okay? What's food contact surfaces? That would be anything that food is touching and or has somewhat of a barrier. So like your prep tables, those are food contact surfaces, okay? Now your germicide you want to use on non-food contact surfaces. What is that? Well, your cafeteria tables and chairs are considered non-food contact surfaces. Door handles, sneeze shields, bathrooms, wash sinks, those would be non-contact surfaces that you would want to use your germicide, okay? Now, the biggest difference, if you forget everything I've told you today, the one thing that I need you to remember is that with the germicide, when it's used, you need to follow it with a damp cloth, okay? And that is because there is a detergent residue that needs to be cleaned up. That can be harmful, okay? So any manufacturer will tell you that with the germicide, it is also a disinfectant, sanitizer, cleanser, okay? And with any manufacturer will tell you with the disinfectant, the maximum kill time is going to be after 5 minutes. We don't always have 5 minutes. So if you can at least get 1 minute in there, okay, that's good. Now, my recommendation is if you're doing the cafeteria tables, is you start off with your tables and your chairs. Your tables, I would start off with table 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, all the way to the end. Do your chairs at the same time or benches. And then I would come back and then rinse off your tables 1, 2, 3 to the end, okay? That way you're giving it time to work. All right? Do we have any questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so you're spraying and then wiping with a damp cloth and then rinsing?
No.
Is that?
Nope.
Okay.
All you have to do is, for example, if you're in the cafeteria, what I would do is I would clean your tables off first, okay?
Yes.
So most of the time they're going to be, you know, you're going to have your rinse cloth and your sanitizer and you do your tables. Come out there, spray it with the germicide. Now, you don't have to inundate it with it. You just got to lightly mist, okay? And then once you go through there, then you come back, wipe it with a damp cloth, you're done.
Gotcha.
Okay? Now your sanitizer is just like your 3-compartment sink. It's always going to be wash, rinse, sanitize. Okay? If you use a spray bottle, you can just spray that area walk away because it can air dry and you're okay.
With the sanitizer?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay? So just remember, on the germicide, you want to wipe it off with a damp towel, and the sanitizer, you can just let it air dry. Yes, sir.
Did you say, like cafeteria where the kids eat, you don't have to use the sanitizer, or you do use the sanitizer?
What I'm going to tell you, depending on what's going on. If you have kids throughout the day that just want, every lunch session's one after the other, then you're always going to use your best practice, and that's always going to be wash, rinse, sanitize. I would continue to do that, and then at the end of the day, then I would use your germicide. Okay?
Would you use you don't use the sanitizer though, kids are.
Well, you can.
What we've been doing is use the sanitizer at the end of the day, and then we go over it with the germicide.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. You always want to wash, rinse, and sanitize your tables, okay? So there's a lot of places now.
You don't have time to do that though with the kids out there. You can't wash, rinse, and sanitize. You
Okay,
don't have time.
but you have a rinse towel and a sanitizer towel, right?
I think what he does is you just put the sanitizer in the bucket
I put it in the bucket.
and then he wrings it out and then washes the table.
Okay.
But I don't have time to rinse.
Yeah,
I
'cause
can
they
clean,
come
what I've been told, just use water, clean the messes up. And then at the final clean, when nobody's in there, then you sanitize, and then you germicide.
What I want to suggest to you is this. Use a sanitizer bucket with your towel, okay? Have a rinse bucket, okay? So, as you're cleaning your table, you're actually cleaning and sanitizing. And then when you're done with that towel, I'll go to the rinse bucket, wring it out, put the towel back into the sanitizer. So that way it's clean, and in that way you can save that sanitizer as much as you can, okay? Because sanitizer is good for 1 to 4 hours or as needed. So if it starts to get cloudy and dirty, then you want to dump it. You may need to dump it every hour, you may need to dump it every 2 hours. But that would be my suggestion.
So the sanitizer does not have to dry before the children sit down? Because that's what we're looking at, is we're not gonna have dry tables. He's wiping them with sanitizer, but then the children are gonna sit down and it's going to be wet, and that's where we're...
Understand, make sure your towels is damp. It's just damp. It doesn't have to be totally wet, okay? If it's damp, and if they were to sit down right there, it's not going to be harmful to them,
But
okay?
if it's wet, it will be.
No.
Oh,
The sanitizer, when you're between that 150 to 400 parts per million, you're okay,
okay,
all right? It's killing your bacteria,
okay.
okay? It's not going to be harmful to them. If it's just a damp, okay, it's not going to hurt them, all right?
Okay.
Okay, so I have a question. Overall, us ladies in here that have our prep areas and our counters and all that,
Sure.
we basically sanitize at the end of the day,
Yep,
correct?
yep,
Anything, and I'm going to call it the pink stuff because that's how we know it, is the pink bottle.
sure.
That basically is the bathroom, our sinks, and out there at the cafeteria.
Yep.
Got it.
Now, here's some, just remember, non-food contact surfaces that are high touch. So handles like your oven and door handles, cooler and freezer door handles, your wash sinks. Now the front part of your, where your service lines, okay, you could use that on that too, okay? And then like on the sides of your coolers, and your ovens and stuff like that are stainless, you can use germicide. That will also help bring out the luster in that stainless steel. Okay?
Okay.
Now, if kids are around and you're using a germicide, which you shouldn't, but if they are, spray it into a towel and then wipe it. Just remember, no matter what, always use a damp towel. Now, there is one exception, and that is at the end of the day, when you spray it onto your sneeze shield, use a dry towel so it doesn't smear. That's the only exception.
But the sneeze shield, all of that stuff where the kids come right through, is that okay with just sanitizer through the day?
Yes,
Okay,
we have a lot of districts, and again, your best practice is always going to be wash, rinse, and sanitize, okay? And if you can't get to the germicide, then you refer to your best practice,
okay.
okay? Does that make more sense? every district, every school has had these questions, and everything that I've went over with each of my managers in all the areas and the seminars that I've performed, this is the biggest thing, because it is different. We have to think differently with COVID-19. So, okay? All right, well, thank you. I appreciate
gonna
you
mention
paying
this?
attention. Oh, yeah. Here's something else too, is by your 3-compartment sink, okay? Back here. This poster also shows you as far as your germicide and how to use it on your cafeteria tables, and it's just exactly what I've been telling you. Okay? So if you forget or anything like this poster, just follow the poster and you're gonna be fine. Okay? All right, thank
More
you.
sprayers? You.
Pardon?
Did we get more sprayers?
I gave you a few. There is a plastic shortage going on, along with everything else.
Oh, a coin.
Bucket sprayers, and we've been looking at a lot of different distributors as well to help us out with that. So we're trying to make sure that we have enough for everybody in the district. So there is a limited supply. I did leave a couple extra, but as we get more in, then I'll be able to leave more.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, thank you. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out.
You're welcome.